Hello and welcome to the Level 30 podcast. This is episode 3, and I'm sitting down here today with Kevin and Joe, and we've got a whole plethora of Level 30 gaming goodness. Remember, Level 30 Games is the best. I can't say the only, I don't know, but we think it's the best or among the best YouTube channels with gaming topics dedicated to adult gamers who have a full life busy schedule. Please check us out on YouTube. I'm happy to announce today that we also have a Instagram account and Twitter, both of which are being managed by Mike, who's not able to join us today, but we did record some episodes of Press Start over the weekend. We'll have those coming out soon, so I'd like to take this opportunity to say hello to our panel today. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Tom.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Tom.
What's going on?
You know, podcasting.
Podcasting. We are certainly podcasting. And we've got a lot of stuff to run down today. We're going to start with some newer stuff and trickle back to some things we missed over the last 3 weeks. As you guys all know, this is something we love doing, but the school year has kicked into to full gear here. And we're just insanely busy. So the fact that you guys are sitting down with me today, I appreciate. Thank you for taking the time. And if you're out there and you're a teacher, congrats on the start of the school year and good luck with the rest of it. And if you're not a teacher, thank a teacher because maybe you got where you are because of one. And there's my small little teacher plug. So, yeah, thank you. Let's get into some news. And I figured we'd start here, not quite with a nostalgic trip, but I think it's going to end up going down that road. Recently, there was a video that leaked of a redesigned GameStop store. If you haven't heard or read in the news, GameStop is closing 200 more stores.
I thought it was 200.
I think it's 200 more stores. This was after they announced they're already going to close a certain number of stores. The Game Informer magazine, they laid off a bunch of people,
100.
Almost
It's like half their
staff,
of the magazine.
And they kind of just did it like without any warning. There were a lot of people, editors and writers that I saw on Twitter, just kind of like, yeah, we just found out now that we're canned, and
They walked into work and it was like, you don't have a job anymore. You
Right.
walked into work and you don't have a job anymore.
Sorry, I had to tell Kevin to get a little bit
Yes.
closer to the mic.
What are they, retail employees?
They were kind of, and I worked retail, and that's where we're going with this chat.
Kinda
Is
what they do to retail employees.
it was
Yeah.
really,
Let them
really
go.
mismanaged, and it just kind of goes to show you that the store from the top down clearly has some issues with their management, and they're a little behind the times as far as how their stores are running. And Kevin, you're an avid GameStop shopper.
Yes.
There's nothing to be ashamed with there.
There's not. I love my local GameStop, actually.
Tell us why.
Why I love that
Yeah.
store? The employees there are awesome. They're not pushing sales on me or other customers that I've seen, and they're genuinely like they're nice and they love video games. The ones at my store, I only go to one location because that's the only one I need to go to. They're always super helpful, and that's it, I guess. And I spend a lot of money there.
Oh, we all spend money in places.
Yes.
Joe, you've got some friends that used to work there, right?
Yeah. I mean, I used to work at GameStop, so I made a lot of friends from working at GameStop. And this area seems to be pretty good with GameStops, and I know it's different, but I mean, the store in a whole is very hit or miss with your employees. I mean, it's like walking into any kind of store, like going into Guitar Center. Guitar Center gets a ton of hate for being a corporate company that, does things and sells things for 20% more than like a local store would do it for. But when you get a store that has like really good employees that really care about what they're doing and a manager that really looks for those people to hire them, you do get a good experience. The one that I worked at, like we all actually were gamers. We cared about games. We played through them, all the time. So we had a good team who knew what they were talking about and could make recommendations to people. So, but that doesn't change how the store, like you said, is run from the top down. So you could have the best employees there, but when they're forced to do things to keep the company running the way they think it's supposed to be run, the way management thinks it's supposed to be
Right.
run, it doesn't matter what you do or how good of an employee or how much you like video games, it's going to ruin the company on a whole because you're forced to do things like push sales on people and push pre-orders and stuff like that on people.
Yeah,
That's still a big
and
thing.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff out there, and some GameStop employees have kind of gone out and said, "Hey, this is how it used to be." And you can read stories. Some of their initiatives that they were forced to kind of partake in, like the QOL, the quality of life kind of like mantra of pushing the customer to purchase things in an effort to get them to return to purchase more things.
Yep.
And I actually spent some time during college and after college running a game store. It was a company called Game Crazy. They were associated with Hollywood Video, so our store was inside a Hollywood Video, which was owned by Movie Gallery. So for those of us old enough to remember going out to actually rent movies, we had the store within the store. But that was, I mean, it wasn't a terrible company. It did end up going under, but it went up under because of the, we were the offshoot, and the video rental business just it's gone. We can see now that that was clearly going to happen. And there were things like having to pick up the phone and use the same kind of spiel, where you just drop insert pre-order title here into that conversation, pushing for trades. So you're basically kind of like a pawn dealer or broker, which you ended up having to get a pawn license for in order to run those stores. I think GameStop has those now.
Well, they have to take pictures when you trade things.
Yep, pictures of your objects and then pictures of your ID.
Yeah, well, they take a picture of you.
Yeah, and that's part of the pawnbroker's license that they have to have.
That whole kind of that whole thing is part of GameStop's problem. Not so much that they have to take pictures and stuff, but the fact that they run that kind of pawn business because that's where their money comes from. I mean, they're a company that they sell things for other companies. So realistically, they don't make a whole lot of money on, from what I understand, on the consoles. They only make a couple dollars. On the video games, they make almost nothing. So all of their money comes from, hey, don't buy this new one. You can get a used one for $10 cheaper, and it's still in the same condition, and you get a better return policy and everything on it.
Yeah, on paper it sounds like it'd be better.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're making all of that money back.
Correct.
Anything that they didn't spend to take that trade in.
Right.
They're getting all that in. So they hound people, and most people come in and go, no, I'd rather have the new one. And I don't blame people for that. But as GameStop employees, you're told, push the pre-owned stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Look at how often they have sales for pre-owned too.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. They
buy two, get one, or what? They have all kinds of stuff like that.
Because, I mean, it's basically, it's all profit to them when it comes to that stuff.
Right. So now we've got this video coming out of what a remodeled store might look like. That was one of their big initiatives and pushes to investors, is that we're closing these stores to really focus on the ones that are pulling in money and doing well. And I don't think we're going to have an issue because we're in a pretty populated area. I hope our stores stay.
Somebody mentioned that our stores is probably okay.
Okay.
Just based on population density.
So, and just as a reference for that too, Kevin and I don't live too far from one another, and our GameStops are probably maybe 6 miles apart from each other, but they're in 2 different districts. So they don't compete against each other. They compete against other stores. That just gives you an idea of where we're at.
Sorry, just being, in sales and being in retail for long enough, even though they're not competing directly because they're in different districts, they're close enough that they're still geographically competing with each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
sure.
they're still fighting for sales. Which GameStop are you going to go to?
Right.
Because if yours closes, if his is the closest, everyone's going to go to his, and they're picking up all those sales.
Sure.
That said,
that happened with there was another
did.
one. There was a smaller GameStop not too far from here that when it did close, the GameStop location I go to got all their customers.
Right,
Yeah,
and that's
'cause it's the
it's
closest
going to
one.
happen because that's a lot of their accounts transfer over, and they have gift cards or trade-in values that they can then redeem somewhere else.
Yeah, I guess.
So I guess the question then is, with this leaked video, and you can see it's out on IGN and a couple other sites picked it up.
Some obnoxious
Kind of
music.
like a walkthrough of what this remodeled store looks like. We just watched it moments before we started taping. Joe, you want to describe a little bit about what some of the focus points were?
So I mean, the color scheme's kind of the same. It looks more
Gray.
It looks more. I mean, they're kind of gray now. If anything, the store's a little bit brighter looking. But this is going off my own store, which for some reason is kind of dark. But the color scheme and everything seems to be a little bit more flat. Which is it's very modern looking, modern.
Yeah, I think
almost
that's probably what they were
futuristic.
going for.
Which I think is a fine look. Maybe the colors could be updated, but it looks okay. But anyway, going into
But on
what's
that
in
futuristic note, you also had, and I don't know where they found these, but they had sections of like old CRT tube TVs, right,
Yeah.
set up for some old
they
consoles.
did. They said some stores are going to focus on retro, other stores will focus on esports. It probably depends on what sells most in that area or what that store sells the most. I can imagine bigger stores, especially like mall stores, having both, and just pushing everything in there because some of the mall stores are very, very large depending on like the location that they're in. Some a lot of GameStop's current locations are like small corners of
like little
shopping
shoebox
plaza,
stores.
yeah.
yeah. Mine is next to a Walmart, and it's in between a Sprint store that used to be a Radio Shack and a Five Guys, so it's like the tiniest little thing,
Right.
and that's what a lot of them
And they're
are. I mean, I've
always
seen you do
deeper
small.
than they are wide,
Right.
which
Yeah, always.
Wait, so I have a question. So if we all saw that video, what are they gonna get rid of space wise?
I
Because
think
that took up a lot of space in that video in the back of the store,
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll
like
probably
the
have,
TVs
I mean,
and tables and stuff.
again, if they don't
yeah,
have,
they had like little lounge type areas. I guess it
Mhm.
was to be more inviting in having customers try stuff out, or even just, I don't know, maybe spend more time there casually.
yeah,
like I was almost
like a hobby
like,
shop. Kind
yeah,
of
I was almost expecting like, okay, and where's the barista? And like, and that's the typical retail business model. The longer people stay in your store, the more
More
inclined they are to
inclined.
spend money, and the
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
they are to come back.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's just about creating like an environment that people want to hang out at. Even at like Starbucks, people just hang out there and they go, "Well, I'm here for another hour. Let me buy another drink." You know.
Yeah.
And granted, they're not going to sell that stuff, or at least I don't expect them to at GameStop. But you're more
They
likely to
may
see
buy a
things that you want and
shirt.
go.
Yeah.
If I'm debating on this little like keychain, this little toy, and I'm like, it's $10 on like a jumping Mario that I don't need. Let me go hang out in the back for a little while, and I'm staring at it for the last half hour. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna buy it. It's just about keeping people in the store and
Right.
giving them a vibe that they want to come back.
And let the record show Kevin already bought 10 of those,
Yeah.
and he doesn't need
While we were
them.
sitting here,
They're
somehow.
not amiibos, so I did not buy 10.
Okay. So I'm wondering if that's going to have, because to your example as well, there are people that go to Starbucks and don't buy coffee, right? I mean, I've
yeah.
I've gone to do work and I
just sat there. Yeah.
sit to get out of the house and be somewhere different. But that being said, sometimes I'll go there intending to just do work, and while I'm there, I might as well buy a coffee. So there's promise on paper of what this could look like in a perfect world.
Mhm.
But the real question is the world in retail still perfect?
Was it ever perfect in retail? What do you mean perfect?
Well,
Like amount of customers?
I mean the
like-
model of going to a store and
Ah.
purchasing an item is sort of even now falling by the wayside, right? Because like, the same games they offer, I can get shipped to my house, usually on release date, and not have to worry about driving somewhere, finding a parking spot, dealing with people, making sure they have it.
Yeah.
Versus, I don't need to go to a store at all.
You don't have to leave the
You don't
house.
have to get up.
You don't have to
You
leave the
come home
house.
from work, and the game is there for you.
Well, I'm building up towards the idea of just full digital.
Hmm.
And are people now just saying, you know what, it's not even worth it to have a copy of a game? I mean, some of the Switch arguments, and I still think this is silly, and there are days when maybe I feel this way, but I got to get up and change my Switch cartridge. Okay, it's 4 feet from my couch, and it's not really the most painful thing in the world to
No.
do, but you have people that are now accustomed to, I can just hit a
I just
button,
switch, yeah.
go over, press another button, and I'm in a different game. There's, I guess, a convenience there that people would rather have. I'm
Well,
kind of...
There's somebody who we work with who's buying a Switch for their children, and one of their main things was like, do I want the cartridges or do I just want all digital? It's like, well, what do you prefer? You have young children. I suggested just do everything digital, so you don't have to switch the cartridge out because they're small, and with young kids, they could potentially, mess up that slot if they put
might
the
eat
card
them
in
and
there,
it tastes
or
bad.
like, whatever. So they chose to go with the cartridges though, which I love having physical media.
Well, I always went physical
So-
media for the sole purpose of, if I don't like this game, I can trade it in and it defrays the cost of something, then I can try
Yeah.
another
You
game.
could also share it.
True.
There's
You
that
know,
as well,
You've
which...
let me borrow games that I might not buy myself, but I want to put a couple hours into to try them out, or do a review of them or something. I can get the game from you and play it on my own and give it back to you after putting a couple hours into it. You
Right.
can't do that with digital. You can't share those games.
No.
That ability exists in other platforms. Steam gives you that ability, but we're talking about
I think there's a really
way
a really convoluted way to do it through the Nintendo Switch Online. Like,
To share with other accounts.
I think it's just to have your account on different devices.
I just saw a video on that last night. Actually.
I
Switch Lite's gonna let you
Yeah.
do that.
didn't really pay much attention to it, but supposedly there might be a way to...
It's not that convoluted, but it's only with digitally purchased games.
right. So if
Yeah,
I have a
which is what I
Mario
saw.
Kart cartridge in, I can't share that with another device and
I don't think
play
so.
it. Yeah. So there's means out there, but it's never like, oh, here's a file, go.
Yeah.
Obviously, they couldn't do that because they wouldn't sell any copies of games
No,
ever.
of course not.
No.
So
Be all over the place.
But so, and I'm a huge collector for the sake of collecting too,
Mhm.
which is why Kevin bought 10 keychains and likes to have physical
They're
copies.
not keychains, Tom. They're
Sorry, Amiibo. I apologize. And I it's funny to see some websites now be created for the sole purpose of, all right, we're going to partner with some of these developers and physically publish their games. So I just bought my first game from Limited Run Games, which
one did you get?
River City Girls.
Okay, yeah.
Which I'm kind of excited about. And it really wasn't that much more than the digital only version, which is only how it's offered now. But I know they can be a little tumultuous when it comes to, all right, it's going to come out the end of September. And then we don't hear from anything till November.
Yeah.
And then they say, okay, it'll be out soon. But like, there's clearly a market for it. I just feel like it's getting more and more niche or niche. So does that mean the whole retail model is that becoming antiquated before our eyes? As it pertains to video games, obviously there are some stores that may be around longer due to what they offer, but solely
focusing more on like the dedicated game store.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it go, but I feel like it's happening. Like, look at what's closed in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know. I worry about it because I like going to the store and getting what I want. Like,
Yeah, and
I've had stuff shipped from Amazon that I returned and ordered another one because it was beat up.
Okay.
Which I was not happy
Right.
with. So.
And Joe, you just ordered something. Well, Borderlands came out and they told you that it was coming in late.
Yeah, Amazon was actually, after I canceled mine, they changed it and said it was coming day of. But even so, I wasn't going to take that chance. I wanted to make sure it was there when I got it, so I was able to, it's out today. Let me run out for 5 minutes on lunch or something, go pick up the game and come back.
Yeah.
There is convenience in both. You know, if I want to make sure I have it, then I'm going to go to the store. There's convenience in ordering online. There's security in going to the store and actually buying it.
Sure.
Because now I know, like, I can call the store and say, hey, do you have this? Or if I've already pre-ordered it, and then I can just go and get it. And I know exactly what I'm doing, what I'm spending, when I'm going to get there, and when I'm going to be back with it, and I can have it on my schedule. Also, I don't have to worry about somebody stealing it off my porch, which is nice.
Which is now a problem as well. And I think there's something joyful to be found in being in an environment where everyone is like passionate about the same thing. Like, Kevin, you're like me. You've waited in line outside stores for like Amiibo releases and game releases.
Hours.
Right. But you don't normally clam up and stay to yourself. Do you engage in conversation?
Everybody talks to each other. And
yeah,
things like that.
I mean, I remember waiting in line when the I think it was the NES Classic was first announced, and they were
pre-order.
I literally watched that announcement and grabbed my keys and drove to GameStop, and their system crashed. And there was a line of people, and I was like third in line. I said, "Perfect. I'll wait. I feel like I got it." And I think we waited for, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but like an hour. And it was just, but everyone there that was waiting for it was just
hours, like for Amiibo releases.
Everyone
was
so excited to just talk about sharing experiences. Like, oh well, I remember when I got this system for Christmas when I was 5 years old, and it was just really cool hearing that. You don't get that. That's lost.
Ordering things online.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens with the store. I wish them the best. We've already lost Toys R Us as a games outlet.
That was a different story, though.
Toys R Us was
actually doing well.
No.
If you look into it, not even going to go off on a tangent. If you look into it, Toys R Us was doing well. They got the company who bought them and owned them sold them to pay off other debts.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, Toys R Us themselves was actually doing okay.
That is actually kind of
that's sad.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, a lot of stores, like even Best Buy is carrying toys now. Kohl's carries a lot of electronics and toys. So maybe we're getting this merger of if they can't survive on their own, they're going to end up somewhere else.
Kohl's also takes Amazon returns.
Yeah, I returned something the other day.
The other day too, and it was very just like, boop, done.
Yep.
Which is amazing for Amazon because sometimes you buy something with the thought that like this might not work for me, it might not fit, whatever. I'll buy it and I'll return it. But why would you want to do that off Amazon? It's such a hassle to ship things back out.
Yeah, I hate it.
But I can buy it and then just go to Kohl's to drop it off and return it. Like buying is easier online, returning is easier at the store.
Yeah. So we'll end this before we switch over to the next creepy announcement. Were there any stores that you grew up with that were special to you? As far as getting games, like I remember going to Toys R Us as a kid
because I worked there in our zone.
Well, so did I. Yeah, so did I. But even as an 8-year-old walking down the aisles and you had to take the tickets to go to the
used to
register and
print
pay
those.
for it, and you had to scan them and then give it to the creepy guy that had to go back into the closet to find the game you were looking for.
I was not creepy. I was like in high school when I worked in that.
So was I.
Fun.
R-Zone, that was a throwback.
Yeah, but that was when you had the tickets. That was before it was R-Zone.
Oh yeah.
I could talk for hours about this, but I won't.
But we won't. We'll
Because
save
Toys R
that.
Us is gone.
We'll save and we'll save that for another day.
We'll just say I missed the Wiz.
Wow.
That was a great start.
No one misses the Wiz,
I miss
Joe.
the Wiz.
No one. No one.
Used to buy RC cars from the Wiz.
Okay.
I wonder how many of our viewers know and remember the Wiz.
Outside of the
Wiz.
Seinfeld episode,
Yeah, like in
which
real life,
relates to the Wiz.
I'm disappointed now.
So in other news, I guess there was a surprise announcement. So we had this wonderful direct, which I guess we can talk about in a sec. And then like a day or two later, Nintendo said, here is a brand new fitness-related teaser trailer.
That we forgot to announce at the direct for some reason.
I think they were very... It was a very
Careful with that,
calculated
yeah.
decision, as in, here's
Oh,
this
sure.
mass market Wii Fit-esque type thing does not belong in a direct that most casual people will not pay attention to.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen the announcement video, not the teaser of, hey, here's people shaking a circle, watch the
Oh
actual
my gosh.
announcement video.
It is 7 minutes and 20 seconds that you're not sure if you're going to want back or not.
I watched 2 minutes and I was like, I'm not getting this thing, and I just stopped watching it.
Which is fair. I mean, it was
like-
it almost kept me hooked long enough because of how weird and
Cringy it was.
cringy, but
Yeah.
like in a I don't know what they were going for kind of
Yeah.
way. You had
I
two
have no
people
idea.
on there that were trying to basically pitch this Ring as a fitness type game, and it's called Ring Fit Adventure. Comes out in October for $79.99. I'm probably
You know,
wrong
I
on the
missed
price.
The price on the video. I did see that it comes out on the 18th. I saw
Yeah.
that, but I didn't see the price actually.
Why?
But it makes sense with
Hold
the
on.
attachments.
The
and
game
stuff.
part looks cool, which I'm sure you're probably going to get into, but is that accessory that much money with the game?
No, it's the game and the accessory. It's not just the accessory. And I'm not going to
That
get into the
seems
game
like a
too
lot.
much. It's like a fitness RPG.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool.
It's got a cool premise.
Yeah.
Joe's got some other
It's like,
thoughts
not for me.
I mean,
on it.
it looks. It doesn't look thrown together, like hacked together or anything. But
Oh,
it
not at
does-
all.
No.
But it does look like it wasn't a ton of effort. Like it looks kind of like a generically made like a game in like the Unity engine. And then they were like, all right, well, we're Nintendo and we do attachments. We had this thrown in the back room. Let's just snap our Joy-Cons onto it.
It's an
Like
old R&D.
honestly,
equipment.
yeah. And then let's get our poor man's David Boreanaz to do this this video for us.
Yeah, the people that
It was
do
just
the
bizarre.
video, I don't know, like if it's
They were probably
his
paid
dialect.
actors.
Oh no, they absolutely were, but
Right?
the way that they enunciate
He spoke like he was trying to hold spit in his mouth.
it's really weird. There's someone recut it. I don't know who did it, but someone
Do I
took.
need to go back and watch this now?
Yeah, you do.
Oh,
No, what
man.
you need to find is
bizarre.
you need to find the one that's done with the soundtrack to the Midsommar movie put in the back of it, and it's treated as
That
if
sounds like
this
it
is
would
like a
be
cult
really
video.
creepy.
No, it's
creepy
funny.
without
I
it,
mean, I watched
so-
it for 30 seconds,
Wow.
laughed, and said, "All right, I get it, I'm out." But this is a really weird product. That what's interesting for me is that it doesn't seem like with the Switch so far since its launch, Nintendo is really outside of some of the more hardcore titles that also hit big casually, like your Mario Karts and stuff, and Mario Sunshine, not Sunshine, Odyssey.
Odyssey?
This is very reminiscent of a Wii era type game.
Mhm.
And so my question to you guys is there a market for it still?
Significantly less than there was
Yes,
before,
but-
I think. I think people are going to buy it. I don't think it's going to do anywhere near what Wii Fit did. I
No.
don't think it's going to have the impact that Wii Fit did. Not saying that Wii Fit was a revolution or anything, but I don't think it's going to do what Wii Fit did. People are going to go, this thing is kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, and Wii Fit, I mean, I didn't play it or anything, but
It
it,
was
looked
very
like a lot of...
straightforward.
It was a
It
lot
was
of
like, hey, this is a workout thing
Yeah.
or an
th-
exercise thing.
This game, like, I understand trying to keep people engaged, but,
Mhm.
like, my issue is I'm looking at it and it says, oh, hey, you can do this to work out, you can do that to work out, but nobody's paying attention to your form or anything. Like, you could be
Mhm.
doing these workouts entirely wrong, and now you're playing a game while you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's a way of tricking you into working out, which I can appreciate, but...
Well, it's the gamification of exercise. So
yeah.
is that I don't know if there's a part of that, like that crossover, that middle area. I mean, you can gamify a lot of things, and we hear that term gamify in education, occasionally. So, okay, we're going to gamify exercise, but then the exercise really isn't as thorough as it should be, and the gamification takes a hit because you're trying to satisfy both, and I don't think there's a way to really do it unless you invest tons of money into developing a really great game and then a really great peripheral, and then find a way to make them work together. Like, for me, probably the best example of that would be like Dance Dance Revolution and buying a dance pad. Because, not that they were going for exercise, they were going for, that's how the game is played. And that's not to say Wii Fit didn't have its merits. I remember I had a friend who played football in high school, and he did crew in college, and he broke out Wii Fit to do yoga, and I've never seen this kid sweat so much. So like I think there's some merit to it. It's better than sitting on the couch. And just so you know, I pulled up the numbers. Wii Fit sold 18.22 million copies globally. But that's
a lot.
It's a $100 game, and it came with that balance board. I still have it in my living room. That's
for show,
that's pretty big for a $100 game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So check that out if you haven't seen it. It's creepy, and you can basically pay for an expensive Pilates ring and a funky-looking game.
So, Tom, are you getting I almost said Wii Fit Adventure. What is it called?
Ring Fit.
Ring Fit Adventure?
I think the days of stockpiling crappy controller accessories and guitars and drums and fit boards and any other thing that attached, steering wheels, are over. So I can't see this being an $80 game worth purchasing, especially since we're getting like 3 really big RPGs in the next week. Week and a half.
And whatever's going up on eShop. I just texted you guys about something last night, I think. Late, like Star Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Which I was like, what is this?
Yes, another JRPG that we can sink dozens of hours into. So speaking of announcements, if we jump back to, and I was reviewing our last podcast, there were some things we got right about this Super Nintendo announcement coming to the Switch was really cool. Some things we got wrong. So Kevin was right on it being a separate app. We were all wrong on there being a price increase, which is funny because, we're a small sample of the population, but we were all essentially sitting here saying, well, we'll pay more money for it.
Yeah.
And then they gave it to us without increasing that price.
Shocked they did not increase that price.
Thanks, Nintendo.
But I was like, thank you. I'm happy with that. Yeah. I'll give you $30 for a controller.
All right, Kevin, go ahead. Kevin really wants to talk about these controllers, so we're going to give him.
I'm so excited. So we talked about the controller a lot in the last podcast, and
we talked about the FCC filing. So that was what led to the rumors,
right? And the rumor was true. I was super excited when they panned away and then panned back to who was doing that segment. His name escapes me at the moment, and I saw the controller in his pocket, and I was like, "Yes, here it comes." I ordered 4 because I'm crazy.
Yeah,
and
no.
Because you could only buy 4 max. There's a limit on 4 per account.
Not entirely sure why you'd need more, but
because I collect things.
You just collected 4 of them.
And when I play a lot with 1 and it wears out eventually, I have 3 other ones to last me for the rest of my life. That's why
maybe a less introverted person would have said, when I have 4 friends over. No, you went to when I wear out 1, I will have backups.
When I have extras, whatever. It's my money. I do what I want.
No, that's fair. I bought 2, and I even teetered on it because I'm like, all right, it's the price of a game. But by the time they added shipping and stuff, I'm like, this was more than I wanted. This went back to 1. I said, just screw it. We'll buy 2. I figured the small handful of games like Mario Kart is
small. Wait, what?
So the small handful of games that are actually 2-player.
Oh, right.
On that, there's going to be some that are great, like Mario Kart. I love, and we can get into these games. Because it's not like they said, all right, Super Nintendo games are coming, and here's 3, and we'll do more next month. They said, here's 20.
And we will tell you when the next game's coming.
Yeah, they changed that a bit. They did say that they're no longer going to do, for both NES and Super NES, they're not going to do it every month.
Which I'm okay with. If there's more fanfare when they announce them, instead of this forced, like, hey, every month we need a game or 2 or whatever, I feel like that's reasonable.
Well, I think it stops also these are the games we're getting this month.
Yeah.
That sucks. And then, like, being really pissy until the next month when it's a roll of the dice as to what you're going to get anyway.
Yeah.
Because everyone's entitled and they want what they want when they want it.
Which is now.
And so, Speaking of that, so we got some great games, and Joe's got the list. If you didn't hear it or you don't have Nintendo Switch Online, my sales pitch would be it's $20, and now you get 20 Super Nintendo games. Worth it.
Yeah.
Run us down the list, Joe.
So currently you get Super Mario World, which I mean honestly, it's just
10 out of
worth it
10.
for that alone. You don't
Are we
even
gonna rate
need
these
more
as we
than
go?
that.
Yeah, all right, why
yeah,
not?
right.
All right, 10 out of 10.
All right, Super Mario Kart,
9 out of 10.
I'm gonna go with that.
The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
35,000 out of 10. It's my favorite game of all time.
That's pretty low.
10
Wow.
Infinity out of 10.
One of the best games ever.
It's a good one.
It's, a
It's
really
worth
good one.
having the controller
Yes.
for. Also,
Yep.
Thank you.
I already know where this is going, but Super Metroid
One of the best games ever.
didn't even let Tom rate it.
Why? I don't not like it.
No,
Keep
I'm just
going,
saying he
please,
was going to cut you off.
before-
Stunt Race FX, available for the first time since its original Super
I never
NES
played,
release.
so I can't rate it.
Stunt Race FX uses the FX chip that Star Fox did.
Okay.
And F-Zero, right?
No,
F-Zero
that was
didn't
Mode
use it?
7. That was
Oh,
Mode
it's
7.
different? Okay.
Yeah, no, this was what kind of basically allowed like three-dimensional polygons to live in a 16-bit world. And it
Surprisingly
runs
impressive.
like it's in a 16-bit world. This is a game that maybe at best hits like 12 frames a second. Like it's worth playing to see like, oh, this
This was a thing.
was a thing, and then probably never again. And there's a few games on this list, but yeah, play it once and never again. Go ahead, Joe.
Kirby's Dream Land 3. I'm personally pretty excited about that. I love Kirby's Dream Land. I love Kirby's Dream Land 2 on Game Boy was one of my favorite games, and just jumping back on the back of Rick, the hamster, and just running through entire levels. So
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna say
I'll give that a 10 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
I haven't played it yet, so I can't rate it. But I
Disappointed,
know
okay.
Kirby games are great.
They're always good.
Yeah.
They've become like Nintendo's like, oh, here's our easy thing for you to play, but I still love the games. They're
Yeah.
still
Which is
fun.
weird because back then they're like, "Here's Kirby, here's a level," and there's like no direction. But anyway, go
It's
ahead.
punishingly difficult for no reason. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
Yes, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Many
Soundtrack
reasons.
is fantastic.
Yeah, they always are. Star Fox.
10 out of 10. Just based, I played
7
that
out of
game.
10.
I played
7
that
out of 10
game
based
a
solely
lot.
on its
lot.
credentials. It doesn't hold up as well
Nah.
as some
I
of the
have
other
rose-tinted
Star Fox
glasses.
games. All right,
F-Zero.
8 out of 10. It's a fun game. It's a little repetitive.
Go with that.
It's kind of bland,
Yeah,
honestly.
there's not a lot of
I love the
options.
GameCube version, but
Oh,
not
yeah.
much there. Yeah,
I haven't heard of this one. Pilot Wings.
I loved Pilot Wings.
I never played the original.
I played a little bit the other night because I wanted to get my license and stuff. It does like some Mode 7 things where you skydive, and so like it does this parallaxing where their character falls and you can move them, but the ground gets closer. I don't know why I'm demonstrating this with my hands. It was one of those games that like I think early on did 3D space really well, and so it's kind of simple and there's not much depth to it, but it was fun for what it
Not
was.
much depth in 3D.
I was
space.
gonna say there's a
Interesting.
3D joke coming somewhere.
Nope.
Kirby's Dream Course, which I could live with that as much as I love Kirby. It's Kirby's.
I think I played
Dream
it once
Course.
and I said I'm good. It's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of in
about
that
all
category.
You need, just so you did it. Brawl Brothers.
Terrible.
Don't even know what that is.
I tried to play it the other day for like 30 seconds. So take what's the classic NES side-scrolling beat 'em up?
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon. All right, so take
Love
Double Dragon,
Double Dragon.
which I love. All right, take Double Dragon and have terrible hit detection.
Oh man.
So Double Dragon.
Yeah,
no,
right?
Double Dragon was much then much worse than that.
I used to have to stand inside of the first boss to beat him.
Yeah, well,
in
this
Double
is somehow worse because you will
Oh,
do
good.
that and not hit them, but they'll hit you. And I said, we're done here. Yeah,
All right.
you don't have to play it. Skip it.
Breath of Fire.
We're drawing blanks
Just-
because I'm
wow.
trying to like wait. Why does I feel like
Isn't
Breath
that-
of Fire is
isn't
the
that a
subtitle for
big
something?
JRPG?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never played.
Never played it.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, Demon's Crest.
Well,
Actually, a
I
couple on this list
have
I
not
played.
played that, but I love another game related to that on this list, and apparently Demon's Crest is a good game.
Yeah, I'm gonna check
far
it
as I
out. I haven't
realize.
played it yet.
I haven't played it yet though.
Joe and Mac 2, Lost in the Tropics.
No, there's enough good
What is
platforming
that?
goodness on there that you
Oh.
can probably skip.
Th-
That's a weird one to include.
Yeah, and
This
the
one's a little-
initial.
Bizarre to me. Super EDF, Earth Defense Force.
I think it's like a
Isn't that an
like a-
arcade shooter?
it's like a
think
Galaga S
s-
type
yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
mean, Earth Defense Force they kind of rebranded into other stuff
Yeah.
more recently, but I think this was a bad clone.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts, so you can
Yes.
break your brand new SNES controllers.
Yeah,
There's a
it's an
rewind
okay
feature,
game.
which
Yeah,
I
there
like.
is, but that game is
Can be used a lot.
frustratingly punishing for no other purpose other than to basically be a dick.
I love
Get
that
your
game.
$60 worth of time out.
I would give that an 8 or 9 out of 10.
I would give it a 4 out of 10. I'm mad that you exist. The sprite work is cool and the music's good, but
Sounds
it's like
we need to have this on a stream or something.
maybe.
Super Puyo Puyo 2.
Which is
a
a
weird one to
Japanese
say.
version.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it is
Which
Japanese.
I was like, what is that? And I looked, I was like, this is some kind of puzzle game.
I know Puyo Puyo from Puyo Puyo Tetris,
Yeah.
and I like Tetris way more than I like Puyo Puyo.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I can't wrap my head around the puzzle aspect of Puyo Puyo, so I just feel like I'm shooting globs into things and like hoping they
Hope for the best.
disappear.
No,
yeah.
It sounds like a Japanese puzzle game.
Yeah, and that's not to say it's
right?
good, and the premise is cool, but yeah, I'll maybe 2-player can
The
figure it out.
last two I've got on this list are Super Soccer and Super Tennis.
I've heard Super Soccer's terrible.
I haven't played either. I don't care.
Oh,
about
we're
those
American.
old-
big on
Super Tennis was a
soccer.
game that I love tennis. I was at the U.S. Open a couple weeks ago, and so I just enjoyed the sport. This I thought was a really cool game, and I used to play with my brothers a lot. So I'm excited for it, even though most people are going to go, okay, you just hit balls back and forth, and that's
Yeah.
really it. But like we came up with backstories for all the characters, and
Wow.
just we had fun with it. So that one will be one that means more to me than I'm sure a lot of people. But so. And this is going to tether to our user question at the end. There's a lot of stuff here that you can sink hours into.
Yeah.
Hours.
Or 5 minutes, because a lot of people go into retro games and go, I loved this game when I was a kid, and they pick it up and go, nah, this is garbage now. I'm so used to playing new games that so really some people are gonna be really into it and play it and, re-experience all of the the quirkiness and the glitches and whatnot of these old era games, and then some people are gonna go, mostly me, are gonna go, oh no, this is not good.
I
You're
just
just not
thought-
gonna play it.
I wonder how many people have a Switch, like younger, like kids, like they're gonna play A Link to the Past for the first time ever. They're gonna play Super Metroid for the first time ever. What are they gonna think?
They're gonna hate them.
That's what I worry about. Like, I hope they have somebody there to be like, no, this is like one of the best games ever.
I'm sorry, I did not enjoy Atari games when I played them because it was just a little bit before my time. And I can appreciate them now for what they are, but I'm not going to go into them and sink, 10, 20 hours into an Atari game because you're just moving a little square around
Yeah.
on an adventure just because I have games that I'm enjoying a lot more right now than
Yeah,
this
true.
Atari game.
I wonder if
Right.
They play like indie games or like the retro aspect. I wonder if like younger like kids buy those and play those and enjoy those.
See, I think they enjoy those for two reasons. One, because they're popular, and I think that has something to do with it. The fact that like this is the big thing now, and this is what everybody's into, so this is what I'm going to play.
Okay.
But I think the other thing is too that even though these games have that retro feel, the retro style, the retro aspect, they're still modern, polished games.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
still work better overall. They have the better mechanics and just the better,
Well, there's a lot of
programming.
quality of life improvements too. You
Yeah,
know, like
absolutely.
checkpoint systems that aren't like, oh, you died in Ghouls and Ghosts, so
Start over.
start over from the beginning of the level. And you-
Resilience,
no,
Tom.
Yeah.
the beginning of the
Resilience.
game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's that stuff that people don't have
I'm
the
gonna
patience
brag
for.
that I beat that game now because apparently I never realized it was that hard.
Yeah,
back in the
you're the
day.
character that can't jump correctly because he's
It's
silly.
a weird like.
Yeah, he's got a
jump
weird
physics.
jump physics. He can take one hit in his armor and be down to his underwear, which of course makes perfect sense. And yeah, I feel like there was
your-
a lot
your
of
bones.
levels that gave you that. I don't know. I always refer to it as the Ninja Gaiden bird attack, where like you go to jump across a clearing and a bird will spawn and
Oh,
then
and
hit
attack
you
you?
in a way that like you can't avoid it. And if you go back, like he just keeps respawning. And I've
Man.
died countless times that way. And games like that I get very frustrated with. But like so you mentioned the rewind feature where you can kind of go back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghouls and Goblins, whatever it
Super
is.
Ghosts and Ghosts.
Okay. Now there's a rewind feature. Is it even worth going through the game with the like does the game hold up if you essentially respawn every time you die? Cuz let's replace that.
If you enjoy the gameplay, like the weapons were cool in the game. Powering up the armor was cool in
Okay.
the game. If you got the highest level armor, your weapons got like some super abilities, which was cool.
Yes, until you took one hit and then you lost them all, right?
But you have to be good. Get good.
Get good.
Get
I
good.
think it's one of those things where you can kind of use it to your advantage, but you don't have to use it.
Right.
You know?
It's optional.
So you can tell yourself like, all right, I'm only going to use it if something really messed up happens, and I'm going to just go back. Sometimes you just go,
Yeah.
oh, that's BS, and you throw your controller. I'm just gonna, I'm going to play, and if I
I'm throwing
die,
my $30.
I die. It was totally my fault. But if I die because of something stupid, somebody spawns on top of me, let me just rewind, or maybe just to get yourself going. Like there have been times, I don't do it often, but there have been times where like I'm playing a game and I'll cheat because I'm just so stuck, or I'll even maybe not cheat, but just like cheese an enemy. And I'm just so stuck that I just want to continue because I'm not having fun with the game anymore. I want to continue the story. I want to get past this part. So let me just get past this little roadblock and keep going. And I think the rewind feature could help you with that, where you're enjoying the game, but you might get stuck in it. It'll help you get past something because who really wants to go all the way back to the beginning?
Especially with some of the older games because they're punishing compared to
sure.
games today.
Yeah, and that's definitely a topic that I would love to like dig into if we ever have like a slow news week and are like, what are we going to talk about? I think we can do a whole little like expose on the whole notion of like game shaming. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you play on easy mode, you're not a real gamer. Or like there was some backlash because Kojima said that Death Stranding is going to have this mode that essentially allows you to like hit up and it like auto does the game for you, and it's
like
because
super easy mode,
like baby mode, so that if you want to experience the story, you can go into it and just do that. And I'm sure there are going to be people that are like, yeah, I don't have time to redo this 1,000 times, so this is great. And you can get the same kind of narrative impact, not the same sense of accomplishment, maybe,
Right.
but yeah, I think just like let the people play how they want to play.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre to me that people would be mad about that because one, nobody's forcing you to play that way. So if you don't want to, just ignore it. Like there's never anything bad about more options. But also it's gaming. It's an art form. There's no reason why you can't let everybody enjoy it the way they want to.
But this is America. And so how you live your life directly impacts how I live mine.
All right, we're getting political.
So, yeah.
No. Wait.
I say in jest,
What's
of
next?
course.
Yes. What's next?
Moving on.
Are we into our favorite games yet? Because I just got one yesterday.
Yeah. Favorite games you're playing now?
Yes.
We're going to get there. I want to quickly run through.
skipping.
We're going to quickly run through E3 Part 2. Since, I mean, it was a couple of weeks ago.
Go on. There was something about E3 in the news today.
Oh, I did see that. We can talk about that in a sec if you like. So there was a Nintendo Direct the beginning of September, as predicted, and there was a ton of announcements. I mean, I think we texted throughout, but afterwards we're like, this could have been an E3 presentation, and we would have been very satisfied. So they billed it as, we're going to talk about Pokemon features and Luigi's Mansion features, and it's going to be 40 minutes long.
2019 games.
Right. Of which they had most of. There were a few that slipped in. But
they
like,
talk about a lot more than they said they were.
They talked about way more than they said they were going to. So,
which is always nice.
Oh, I think it lowered expectations initially because people were like, "Oh, I'm not a Pokemon guy," you know. And they didn't spend much time on those two games they highlighted initially, like at all. And then we even got like 9 minutes of Animal Crossing, which was a little bit more of the same, and that kind of dragged a little bit. And they had a really cheesy song, I think I remember.
I kind of zoned out that part.
Yeah, and it was easy to kind of go, okay, this is not really different than what you did at E3.
Yeah, it was good for the fans of Animal Crossing to see it again.
To at least see it again, yeah. But there was a ton of stuff that came out, some sequels to games that have been dormant, some ports that are kind of surprised. Was there anything that jumped out to you guys as something you're excited for?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of what I wrote down. I still have that paper at home somewhere.
Kevin took notes.
I did. I was like, what's coming out? When is it coming out?
Write down release dates.
Banjo's out today. That was my big thing. Banjo and Smash.
Yeah, so then right after we had a 25-minute video of Sakurai playing Smash Brothers, which was just really kind of cool and lighthearted. And
I love just when he talks about game development and just playing. Like it's just like, oh man, I just want to hang out with him.
Right,
he's a gem. I love
pretty
him.
passionate about.
Yeah, there were a few times where like he would make a joke and you would hear people off camera laugh, and I'm
I like that.
You're so cute.
He's adorable.
I really hope he's not burnt out from this, since they did announce as far as DLC characters go. We got one more coming and
more on the way.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to do probably another season pass next year, which was a cool announcement. Joe, is there anything that jumped out to you in the direct of things you're looking forward to?
Honestly, oh my god, there was a lot of stuff in the direct, and it's kind of like blending all together.
Yeah,
I really was going into it for the Pokemon information, despite the fact that I'm not even sure if I'm gonna get the game or what's going on with it, just because there's a lot of the hype has died over the game. But I'm trying to take in as much information about Pokemon as I can, because everyone's saying, well, they're not including all of the Pokemon in it, and it kind of sucks that they're not doing that. And I agree, because every other game allowed you to transfer Pokemon over. So I'm watching as much as I can, I guess, to kind of justify any excitement that I do have for it, and say like, okay, it's they're taking all this stuff out, but look at all the cool stuff they're doing, and I'm a little back and forth on it. Like, they said, oh, we're doing more with the animations, and they're really not. But there were some very obvious graphical improvements overall with the game.
Okay. Yeah.
If you look at somebody on Reddit did a comparison of like screenshots between earlier videos and the most recent video, and it's not like
It's not night
crazy
and day.
No, it's absolutely not. But like if you look at specific spots, like it does look better and it does show that they are putting work into it, and you might get that overall feel. And it's not going to look like a 3DS game anymore. It's going to look like a an actual like Pokemon game on a Switch system. That's supposed to have better graphics.
Right.
So, and I mean they are doing work. They just announced today the Farfetch'd is getting an evolved form, Sirfetch'd, which is funny because Farfetch is one of my favorite Pokemon, and
That makes so much sense.
I'm not too excited about his evolved form, but they are moving. They are going forward with stuff. So there's a lot of mystery about what you can do because they're taking those Pokemon out. Like, what Pokemon am I going to be able to get now? Because if their base isn't in the form, I might not be able to get my favorite that is in evolved form.
Right, which is always the concern if you have a favorite, is it going to make the cut? But I think I wouldn't be surprised if we get this slow trickle of like every other day we get like one kind of little thing.
Mhm.
Just between now and November.
2 months?
2 months. It
release
comes
date?
out mid-November,
Yeah.
and there are some big releases in October. Luigi's Mansion 3 being the big one at the end of the month. So I can imagine some big media blitzes shortly thereafter, and probably even a little bit before. Yeah, so that was kind of good. I'm hoping it changed the opinions of. I still think it's going to sell well, but
It always will. It
Like
absolutely will.
Pokemon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah.
always does. And I mean, Game Freak has another game on the way too.
they
Is it-
do,
is
which
it Little
actually
Town Hero?
resurfaced.
Little Town
Yes,
Hero?
Little
Yeah.
Town Hero, which was a new title. It was originally announced as Town in the 2017 E3
It was a while ago.
That sounds
or 18.
right.
It was
Yeah,
a while
pending
ago.
title for the longest time.
Yeah, and I was really excited about it then, and I'm less excited about it now. It looked pretty, and I liked the art style. I was not a fan of the battle system that they've got going on. It looked very like Yokai Watch, which I tried and just I couldn't get into. So
It looked original, but somehow still bland at the same time.
kind of.
And
I mean,
wonder if
I'm
Game
willing
Freak
to
is
wait,
splitting themselves a little too thin.
see and hear more. Because Game Freak has done some really good games. Pocket Jockey Hero, whatever that game was, that somehow combined solitaire and horse racing. I got addicted to for a long time. Yeah, it's on the 3DS
combination.
and it's awesome. But that was
Really?
done by Game Freak. Yeah, that's worth going back to play now. Even shoot, I might do that.
Like, he has time.
I don't.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was kind of cool to see. The rumors about Overwatch were true. That comes out in October now. I never played Overwatch.
Me either.
I feel
wanna
like
try it.
I feel like I'd be willing to give it a try
Yeah.
on the Switch, and it looks like it's being released at a reasonable price. I think it's $39.99.
If you
doesn't
buy
do-
a physical copy, it just has a download code in it.
Yeah, which makes me
Which,
angry because
same.
I'm not going to
Like,
pay
what?
$40 for just a case.
No.
We're getting. It looks like we're getting a port of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, which is a terrible title.
But great game.
A
you
game
said,
that I
right?
own that I haven't opened. It's on the Wii U. It's kind of this weird Tensei
don't know
Game
what it
Persona Fire Emblem crossover where you deal with like pop idols and all this. It looks
And
weird.
Fire Emblem characters, right?
Yeah,
In there?
they're your persona in this game, which I have some more understanding of now, having completed a persona game. So like I'm really excited to see that and now put it on a system that I can play. So that's going to be a repurchase for me, even though the original is sealed.
Yeah.
I've only ever heard good things about the game, but I've never had a chance to play
It's
it.
it's got to be a really tiny audience. That's a really
Yeah,
It's a niche game.
you
but
know.
the game still sells for a lot of money. Like, it's apparently a rare find. It's
I'm glad I have a
pretty-
sealed copy.
Yeah,
man.
like
know?
it's not like super expensive, but it's like still almost like the original MSRP.
Mm.
And it's like I said, it's a rare find, and
Right.
I've always been like, if I see this, I should buy it. And then I think I know nothing about this game.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
everybody
You're
says it's
like,
great.
it's rare. I want it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got like a sparkly cover, so why
Yeah.
wouldn't I want it?
Yep, that would make me buy it. We're getting it looks like a remaster of the original Xenoblade Chronicles,
Definitive edition.
which was originally a Wii game that they then redid for the 3DS.
The
I'm
new
sorry, the new
3DS.
3DS. Which is actually one of the reasons why I bought a new 3DS, because I heard about this game being such a hard find on Wii and being amazing, and GameStop selling it used for $100, that I said,
wow.
I'll just get it on the 3DS. And it's surprisingly engaging. I never actually got through it, but it looks really pretty
Yeah.
now on this system.
It
And if
looks
they're
nice and
using
everything.
any of the engines that they had for Xenoblade 2 or Xenoblade Chronicles X, then it's going to look gorgeous. So that might be another repurchase.
Now, what makes it definitive?
I think that it's a remaster. They didn't discuss. It was just like a short teaser.
It was a teaser
There
at
was
the end of the
nothing,
direct.
like, if they
Yeah.
added
Okay.
anything, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did do something like that.
Yeah. So we'll see. So that one's going to be one to look forward to. We got a free to play Kirby game that I couldn't even bring myself to try and download. It just looked like, hey, this is fun if you've got 4 friends around you all the time, and would be not as much fun if there's only one person playing. So
I saw it on the video, and I think I texted you guys and went, I am all in on the Kirby game. And I
Yeah,
was so
I remember
excited,
that.
and then never downloaded it. Like, it immediately slipped my mind.
yeah, they build it as a free to start game. So we'll
Yeah,
see
which was weird.
what that looks like going forward if they're
What
going
does
to
that
try
mean?
things.
The same way, like
Purchase
Pokemon
small
Go
things?
goes probably.
Ah.
You can. It's probably
Oh,
free to play, or it might be even. I mean, if they're saying free to start and not free to play, it's probably like free for the first like 5 levels or something. And after that, you've got to pay
Oh,
for
you
it.
gotta
Could
pay for
be.
levels.
So you
I've
just
only
keep
heard
doing
it
that
really
over and over
referenced as like an episodic
Okay.
games where it's like, oh, it's free to start, which means like episode 1 is free, but then if you want the next one, you have to pay for it.
Like Life is Strange does that.
Okay, and I played the first one. It was really good. So I mean, a lot of surprises there. I don't think any of us would feel at the end of that we were really disappointed with anything that we didn't see. If there were things that you were hoping to see, let us know in the comments. And if there were things that you're excited about, let us know in the same comments. We're going to move really quickly through this next one as we're starting to get to the end of our time together. I don't even need that. I can just ask this question and answer this question real quickly. What are you playing?
Kevin, you want to start?
I just downloaded Castle Crashers Remastered on my Switch yesterday and immediately started playing it. I love that game. And
Go ahead. No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was like, what are you adding?
No.
Playing that and still chipping away at Breath of the Wild, my 100%. But I'm thinking Castle Crashers and Banjo and Smash. That's my main things right now.
I downloaded Castle Crashers last night and then proceeded to play something else because I have a
man.
problem. Joe, go ahead. I know you're shaking over there.
I mean, I'm playing Borderlands 3, and you can ask me that over the next several podcasts, and I'll be playing it. I mean, I played Borderlands 2 from the day it came out until the day Borderlands 3 came out.
Well, there's a big game
So-
coming out this weekend that I hope will actually take you away.
Yeah, Zelda's coming out, and I will absolutely be putting a ton of time into Zelda. I'm thinking that it's going to be Borderlands at home, Zelda on lunch.
Oh, that's a good plan, actually. Yeah.
Because you can take Zelda in small bits. It's it's made to be a mobile game anyway.
Well, it was
so I think-
originally, a Game Boy
Exactly.
game.
So I think I can do that. But for right now, it's Borderlands as much time as I can get into it. And my first run in Borderlands is always pick my character, every side mission, and then get through the story and like 100% that game as much as I can, and then go back and play the other characters,
Right.
and then pick which one I want to like actually stick with after I've already put like 140 hours into the game.
Wow.
So I've sunk a lot of time in that game on like every system, on PC and on Xbox. Like between the two, it's
I love the way that game
kinda
looks.
unhealthy.
And I think we talked about it last time.
Yeah,
but,
it's
like,
got really
it's very
pretty
cool
like
art
cell
style.
shading kind of stuff.
it's technically not cell shaded.
But they use that dark
But
outline,
yeah, it's,
which
it's
I
a
really,
comic book style, so it's a very pretty, very attractive game. The new one has its problems, and I'm hoping they're working on it. But some of the performance issues. But overall, it's been a lot of fun. It's been taking a lot of my time. But I will be playing Zelda when it comes out, and the
all
second
are.
they announced that, I was so excited.
Yeah, it was your phone wallpaper by the end of that
Yeah, it's still my
announcement.
full wallpaper.
Um,
But Link's Awakening was my first Zelda game, so like it holds a near and dear place in my heart.
and it
so
looks so pretty.
it does.
And the
It's
amiibo
very
looks
cute.
really cute, and Kevin has it, and I'm really
do.
angry. But mine, I only got to pick up at my preferred retail outlet on Friday.
Yes, I don't wait.
Tom, what are you playing?
I'm playing a lot of things, always.
surprised.
I did between now and last podcast. I really had to push myself for this because the last little bit, it wasn't a chore. I enjoyed every second of it, but I did finally complete Fire Emblem. I went. Thank you.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, it was a little over 60 hours.
That's not too bad.
Not too
actually.
bad, but that's only one storyline, like arguably. So like you can go through and play it again with a different house. So I went Golden Deer, which I really liked, and I'm not too thrilled about the ending. Like it doesn't sit well with me. So I'm either going to play through it more casually, some of the other perspectives, or just kind of cave and say I don't have the time for this. So I'm gonna watch the YouTube ending, like the endings of the other houses
Yeah.
on YouTube, and just see if I like that. But that was a really great game. It's one of those games that playing anything. Like I'm playing Astral Chain now as well, and Fire Emblem. Almost everything has voiceover. I mean, there's like dozens of different characters and there's different voice acting. So like an Astral Chain, like you'll talk to a character and then you'll turn to another character and like a dialogue box pops open and there's nothing. Like it almost feels empty now in comparison.
That
So
takes me out so much when I see that. I love
I don't
games
mind
with
it. I'm
full
used to it in
dialogue.
Zelda games, especially because they just kind of tried and true with that.
But at least you get the little blabber with the Zelda games. You get the little.
Sometimes.
Like
Some
it's
like
supposed
little
to-
clips. Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't match what they're saying, but at least there's a little bit of voice there.
Yeah, but Astral Chain is awesome. It was the last review that was put up on the channel, so if you haven't seen that, check it out. I think we're hovering right around 300 views, which is fantastic,
It's a good one.
especially for a new IP.
Can't say that for Damon X Machina.
No, I had to pass on
Which
that one.
I
So
didn't pick mine up. I don't know if I'm going to.
it
I
got
like- it
okay
looks cool,
reviews. Yeah,
But it's very repetitive from what
I feel like as a new IP, I want to support it. I know that's
Yeah.
like a really bad mindset as far as being a consumer, but it's going to be one of those games where if it ever dips to a reasonable price point, I'll probably pull the trigger, play a little bit of it, and then never again. Like that's
Yeah.
gonna be the game in my library that says played for an hour,
Right.
and then
it.
yeah. So those have been really, really great. But that actually brings up a good segue to our listener question. This comes from our YouTube subscriber, Brent. This actually was a question he had asked for the last podcast, but since we kind of scrambled last minute to set a date for the recording of this one, I didn't get the post asking for questions until yesterday, and no one bit, and that's okay. So this question comes from Brent. He asks, do you guys have a big backlog of games to catch up on, like himself? And if so, how do you manage to catch up on those games?
You cry about it. I don't like. Oh my gosh. I have a growing backlog of games I want to play, and this is the first time ever. It's like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because I don't have the time to sit and play all of them until certain points of the year
Right.
when we have time.
And for me, this is the scariest part is that the year only seems to get more intense with games to play because a lot of people or companies wait for holiday season to release their games. And so it seems hopefully that between Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon, I think like halfway through November to the end of the year, I think the Switch is finally going to like breathe a little bit. But there's so many more like games for other systems that I'm going to want to jump into.
I mean, I'm a PC gamer, so I mean, it's just kind of like a meme at this point that we just buy games on Steam sales and never play them.
Oh yeah,
So I have
absolutely.
a crazy backlog of games that are installed and have zero play times, games that aren't
Wow.
installed. You know, and I've got other like console games too that I haven't gotten to. And it as a gamer, at some point you buy a game, you don't get a chance to play it because something else comes out, or you just go, okay, I'm gonna buy this one while it's here, but I'm gonna continue playing this other one. And you just
Yeah.
kind of tell yourself, like, you know what?
Not going to happen.
I'm not gonna play this one, you know. And you trade it in, you get rid of it. You
Sits
sometimes
on the
you let
shelf
some-
forever and
Yeah.
it stays
a lot of
unwrapped.
them
And
just
you're
sit
just
on
like,
the
I have
shelf.
that. Maybe I'll play it one day.
But I
One
think
day.
every so often, what I'll do is like if I haven't picked up a game in a little while and I'm getting that itch to buy something new, instead of buying something new, I go, you know what? I'm gonna pick up this old game, even if it's like a Wii game or something, like an older one that I still haven't touched or like never got maybe more than 2 or 3 hours into. I go, you know what? I really have interest in this game. I'm gonna put some time into it. And sometimes you just have to tell yourself, you know, like going to the gym, working out. Like I'm gonna put some time into this game and I'm gonna
Schedule
play.
it.
Well, I think, yeah, but I think there's a discipline there. Even I get that urge to go, I want to buy something new. And I've said that more times this year with a game coming out at the end of the week that I'm looking for, but it's Monday. I feel like getting something new. And like, I have to tell myself, no, stop it. Right. Like I've said a few times on the show, like I got Final Fantasy, a week before Mario Maker.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, well, that was a stupid thing to do. But it was just I had that urge, and so I've been fighting it, knowing that we got all these great releases coming out.
That's
So
what I do too. Like I buy those things when I'm on an eShop or like if it's a retail release, and then I'm like, I'm playing 5 other things.
yeah,
So they all just pile up.
What I'll do occasionally too is I'll say like, you know what, I know I'm not going to finish this game and I'm not going to get through it, but I want to at least be able to play it and enjoy it. So I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna put 10 hours into this game. I'm gonna concede to the
Interesting.
fact that I will not finish this game, but I'm gonna put 5 to 10 hours in this game, so I know that I took like a good chunk out of it and I really got some time to play it.
it doesn't leave you
That would
unfulfilled.
drive, yeah, that would drive me.
Well, here's the
nuts.
thing: if it leaves me unfulfilled, then I know I can keep playing it. This is almost telling myself like I have other games that I want to play, but I want to make sure I get to this one. So let me at least get 10 hours into this game before I do something else.
Like justifying your purchase a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. So if I get to that 10-hour mark and I go, all right, I'm still itching to go back to whatever else I'm playing, I knew I put 10 hours into it. I got some of my money's worth out of it, and I can go back to something else. But if I put 10 hours in and go, you know what, I still want to play this, I've got a reason to stop.
Yeah, that's true. And then it's kind of a good litmus test of I'm really enjoying this in a way maybe I didn't expect to, or more so than what I was playing. So like you stay at it, but even that, like, all right, carving out 10 hours for something sitting on a shelf could be tough. Sometimes like I have games I feel like I played once on the Switch and then stopped.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, does that bleed into, and we're going to wrap up here because we're running a little long, but that's okay. Like Kevin, you're a collector. Do you buy games for the sake of having them, knowing that if you don't play it, that's okay? It's just that this is a game that you feel like you need to have as part of your collection. I looked yesterday as I was rearranging my shelf. I have 54 physical Switch games, 12 of which are unopened. Probably will not open.
Usually when I buy my games, like I buy them because I want, like I'm planning on opening that and playing it, with a few exceptions of like a collector's edition of something.
And that's fair.
That I have that I'm just like, I'm saving that. But yeah, no, like there's one that I bought to save, which was the Okami physical edition, and then I downloaded the digital to play that.
Gotcha.
Just because I love that artwork on that.
But
box.
you still bought it with the intention of playing it,
right? Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't want to open the box. I was like, I just kind of want to.
That's the collector in you,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good question, Brent, and I think that's something that a lot of gamers now have this kind of like FOMO of you want to be in the moment of the game that everyone's talking about, because you know that moment passes on to the next game. And there's such a fear of I don't want to be out of the conversation. Let's move on to the next game. We don't finish the ones that we're currently on. And that's a terrible mentality to have in a medium in which games are now asking for more and more of your time, right? And they compete with other games for that time. The games don't go away, right? Like you can go back and play games that you never finished, but I think there is some sort of mental dexterity needed to say, I need to be willing to wait on the next thing because I'm still on the old thing, and have that be okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I'm victim of it too. And working in the game store, you push that hype to get those people to come back and buy it, and then you kind of bought into yourself. And I started to notice that in the PS3 360 era, is that there was always hype around a game that built and built and built, and everyone was talking about it, and it came out, and then it was done until the next thing came about. So I don't know. Brent, I think that's an interesting question. I don't think we answered it correctly. I think we skirted it. I think there might not be a really solid answer for that. But I thought it listen, we got a good discussion out of it, and I appreciate the question. So thank you for taking the time to leave that comment and writing in. I think that's going to be the wrap of our show today. Did you have another comment, Joe?
Oh, no, I was saying thanks, Brent.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Brent, for being part of the Level 30 family. So that's going to be our show for the day. Thank you for listening. And if you're watching the video podcast, thank you for watching. Do us a favor, though. If you're watching the video podcast, try and check out the audio podcast. We got some great iTunes reviews, which I really appreciate. And we might be expanding this platform to other areas. I know I said that last time. It really comes down to the financial end of it and how much I can siphon out of my already expensive games budget to put this out there on other platforms.
What platforms can they find the podcast on?
Podcast is right now, it's on iTunes and I believe through the Google Play Store. There was a gentleman wrote in and asked, is it on this one? And I checked and it was. And I'm like, oh, cool, because I think he was an Android user. But things like Spotify, I think we need to pony up some money for, so that might not. We don't know if that'll happen. If the audience is there, absolutely. If we're growing,
those backlog games,
right? So prove to
buy as many games.
Prove to us,
Sell
right?
That copy of
that the audience is out there, and we'll get it out there on more platforms. Check out our videos on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can be caught up on all the goodness that is Level 30 Games. Check out our new Instagram account and Twitter account at Level 30 Games. You can heckle Mike for us. I would say what's coming up for Level 30 Games, but we got so much coming up.
We're going to live stream soon. There may be one coming.
Yeah, we might sit down and play Castle Crashers and yell and curse at each other.
No cursing, family channel.
We might yell at each other.
Bite
our tongue at each other. Joe is going to try and tackle, as he's wearing his Zelda shirt today, the review of Zelda, which now we know is going to be a little biased because it's his favorite Zelda game. But
Just as long as you acknowledge your bias, it's
Oh
okay.
yeah, there'll be a disclaimer.
Big
There's
disclaimer.
a huge nostalgic bias
Yeah.
to this.
and then I may take a crack at that on top of some of the other JRPGs coming out, like Ni no Kuni and Dragon Quest.
Gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Comes out Friday too.
Yeah, no, we're screwed. We're done. The backlog continues to
Forgot
grow.
about that.
We'll see you all in 2 months.
Yeah,
Right?
our show continues to grow. The next episode
man.
will probably be when we all purchase the Ring Fit Adventure.
When Tom purchases the Ring Fit Adventure.
When none of the us purchases the Ring Fit Adventures. That's our show, folks. Check out the rest of our stuff. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
You always do your bye like that.
Bye.